Hello, everyone. This is No Kill in Motion. I'm Dave Smith from No Kill, Colorado, here with Aubrie Kavanaugh from No Kill Huntsville and Shirley Marsh from Yes Biscuit. This week, we're going to talk about the double-edged sword of transfer, particularly interstate transfer. I've talked about this before. Colorado imports tens of thousands of pets every year from other states, and we should help our neighbors. That's a good thing. But what we find is some of these communities depend on transfer as the only life-saving tool they actually implement. Now, we talk about the no-kill equation. There's 11 programs and services. That's how you change your community. And transfer is one of them, rescue partnerships. But I think what we do sometimes is we stop them from looking at all the others because they're like, I'm just going to get 20 dogs out this week and drive them to 1,000 miles to Colorado and get them there. And like I said, we should help them. This is a good thing, but it's also, are we stunting them from actually making the change in the community that they need to do? Aubrie, what do you think of transfer and the way that it helps or hurts reform in other areas?
Well, you're in what I would call a target location because you take in what have you said before? Like
40,
45,000
yeah,
animals?
45,000 in 2021 was the last one. We actually took out almost 50 in 2020. I think COVID lowered us. We'll see what happens in 2022. Those stats aren't out yet.
Well, and I'm in Alabama. That I'm on the flip side, I would call it a source location. We have shelters here and we have rescue groups here that has been their go-to. They their whole thing is transport, transport, transport. And yes, the downside of that is that when that's seen as the way to save animals, then there's no incentive and no focus on changing why there are so many animals that need to go somewhere else, right? If you're not doing something at the source location to reduce the number of animals and then reduce the number of animals in need, nothing's going to change. I think I don't have a problem with a shelter or a community doing some transports as part of a bigger picture. But if they're not implementing the other elements of the no-kill equation to help reduce the populations of animals in any given community, keep pets in existing homes, get animals back home where they belong, promote adoption, rescue, have good relationships in the community, then it's just going to be this constant thing. The board president of the local nonprofit spay and neuter clinic in Huntsville said one time, she said, it's like your kitchen faucet, you turn on the water, you leave the water running. Well, you can take a cup or a bowl and you can get that water out of the way. You can move it away, but you just need to turn off the faucet, right? Turn off the fact that need exists to begin with. So I think I'm okay with it as part of a bigger picture, that as the go-to, it does stifle reform in the source location. And what we saw in the pandemic was we had all these shelters and rescues in Alabama that was their go-to thing, that they send dogs and cats off to the north or the northeast to these, wonderful locations. But then when the pandemic hit and then they couldn't do that transport, well, all of a sudden they don't have anywhere for those animals to go. And there's a money element here too. And I don't mean to sound too callous about it, but I know that in years past, there have been places in the Northeast that they promote dogs from Alabama and they call them Dixie dogs. And they use that as a marketing thing, right? It's an emotional play, right? And I also know, and this could probably be a separate panel discussion all on its own, there's a thing called rescue flipping, where rescuers take animals and they're actually being paid, not just for gas money, they're being paid like a per animal per size to take these animals to the Northeast. So it becomes a profitable thing for them. So I have issues with it for a variety of reasons related to money. But the big thing is there's no reason to change at the source location. And we've seen that it can't be the thing. Just like in the past, we've talked about spay and neuter can't be the thing. It's part of a bigger picture, but it can't be the sole focus.
Right. And I'm trying to think I'm gonna go to Shirley because you made me think of something, but I can't remember what it is now. Shirley. So transfer from other states and how this actually affects reform.
I agree with what's been said already. I would add that just as with transfer to local rescue groups. I feel like shelters need to revamp how they do these transfer to out of state for, instead of rescues saying we'll take this, 20 fluffies and scruffies. How about the shelter says, these are the 20 dogs I need the most help with. These are the ones you can take. If those were the animals that were being transported, I think I could get behind it a lot more, because by by shipping out the fluffies and the scruffies, they are leaving in the shelter all of the pit bulls and the pit bull mixes. And when someone does come in to adopt, that's what they see, and they think, well, shelter is not where I'm going to find, the kind of dog I'm looking for. All they have are the pit bull and the pit bull mixes. So again, I just think rescue is supposed to be for animals who need rescue. So the ones who should be transported should be the neediest, that they've had trouble finding homes for, or that have issues that are preventing them from finding homes in a prompt manner. That's what I would like to see.
Yeah, that's interesting. Again, statistically in Colorado, I'm very aware of the numbers that we do here. Every year when I look at importation by percentage of intakes, and I look at the top 5 organizations that, they're 90, 99, there's 100%. Their intakes are all from out of state. We can actually track that in Colorado. And that frustrates me. I'm like, okay, there are animals right here down the block that you can take. That's another subject. It's not about transfer, but there was something, and I don't know if it was Aubrie or Shirley, so I'm just going to open this up. I don't know exactly how this relates completely, but international transfer. So there's already out of state transfer, but I see shelters, bringing animals from Asia and from Europe. Right now, Ukraine is a big one. And again, I see the need. We should be helping when we can. But what do you think of the international thing? Because it was what you said, Aubrie, because it's a great marketing piece. It's, we brought these dogs in from Ukraine, the Ukraine dogs, right? And boom, news covers them and gets them. So, they get some benefit out of that, and maybe even raise funds. And you could even make the excuse, well, we actually can save more local lives, but I never hear that actually. So I don't know what you think, Aubrie.
It's hard to have a position on this and not be thought of as callous.
I know.
Because if we say we shouldn't be doing it, then people say, well, you don't care. If you really want to advocate for animals, you need to advocate for all animals. But I'm reminded about something that Mike Fry said years ago. I think he even wrote a blog about it. It was about, he said, think globally, rescue locally. And I know we've talked about this before. Related to Colorado, I know it drives you crazy when they're coming in from other states, because the thought is we should be helping our own first and then go to other states. And I think I would make the same argument related to our country. I mean, if there's a shelter in Alabama that's doing a great job, it should be looking to its immediate area and helping its immediate neighbors, because it could be that 20 miles away there are a bunch of dogs or cats in need. We'll help those first. I think that when it comes to animals from other countries, I think my expectation would be, okay, if there are a lot of dogs in need of homes in Ukraine because of the war going on, well, my hope is that maybe they could go to Poland, right? Maybe the Polish people could step up and help essentially their neighbors. I mean, they're taking the people in to help them. Maybe they could help with some of the animals. So, and I'm not saying that animals from Ukraine should never come to the US. I just think that you have to think of, well, how big can my scope be? I mean, I've talked to rescuers before that don't have any type of geographic area on which they focus. And the way I talk to them is I say, okay, see if you will agree with me. You can't save every dog on the planet. Check. Okay. You can't save every dog in North America. Check. Okay. You can't save every dog in the United States. Check. Okay, you can't save every dog in Alabama. Check. Well, then why don't you just focus on your immediate geographic area? I think that there needs to be more of that, of focusing on your own area first. And Shirley, you may have a different thought on that. I mean, if somebody adopts a dog from Ukraine, that's great. I think that where do we stop it?
Yeah, I think, David mentioned about it's great, public relations and such, but, it can be great public relations to get the pit bull mixes in your shelter adopted out locally too. And that's on you. That's on you, meaning the shelter and whoever you have in charge of doing your public relations. If you can only get the news to pay attention to your shelter when you are importing dogs from a war zone or a disaster area somewhere on the globe, then you're not doing a good job. So it's on you to get the exposure you need for your shelter and for your animals by adopting ones you have already.
Agreed.
We're going to leave it with that. This is Dave Smith. You've been watching No Kill in Motion. I'm from No Kill, Colorado. I'm here with Shirley Marsh from Yes Biscuit, Aubrie Kavanaugh from No Kill Huntsville. We will see you next time.